Who wants to read first?
Oh, sorry. I'll break the ice.
Okay, come break ice, brother.
Act natural. This goes out to you. Act natural. Welcome to the future. You'll no longer speak with your tongue, and your epiglottis regenerates with SHA-256 encryption. The new iPhone 35BS is here. Buy one. Act natural. The rectilinear laser unlock feature protects you from gender theft and meat misrepresentation. The flashbulb can stun Randy enforcement officials if you need a night off from cavity searches. Buy one. Act
natural.
natural. The iPhone 35BS's Whisper Dream feature will alert your partner when you're aroused and ready for a carbon-neutral orgasm. The iPhone 35BS can scrub your colon and ultrasound your uterus to monitor your birth control levels and semen score. Buy one. Act natural. The iPhone 35BS, encased in lowly farm foreskin, can turn cream on the edge into biological milk. The iPhone 35BS can scale up your cholesterol by 2 points and pay traffic tickets before you earn them. Buy one. Act natural. The iPhone 35BS series verifies erecto-spiritual activities through crypto-teledildonics. The iPhone 35BS series will deepfake a tree, you green slut. Buy one. Act natural. Buy one. Act natural. Debt deep. If there is no debt, we'll abandon one another. Our sewage misread, overcharged. We want to pee in the pipes for a fee, Daddy Plumbus. If there is no debt, so says the credit theorist, we'll abandon each other. Flush coins down a porcelain trap. We'll abandon each other if there is no debt. Quit our jobs and get hairdos, so says a credit theorist hairstylist. If there ain't debt, a credit theorist might ask, why have a job in the red zone and no ownership? Why not abandon one another? If there is a solution, somebody must be unhappy. If there is no debt, this minted sadness will be paid in ballooning installments. Ice cold up here with us, I see. It's so cold, I'm shivering a little bit up here. Get it on. Political pen pals, spider boogie in your ear hole. This is just for you. Try a little poison before you live, Papapolis. Feed the bite, Becky Bagman. Suit up, suit up, suit up, suit up, suit up, sour soldier, and vote. But this time, ballot baby, it'll fix. Win-win, adult carrot. Lose-lose, diaper attention boomer. You are on the verge of off. Ouch! The delicatessen is closed. That's the communism trickling up, Drip Daddy. How dare we infuse the milk with cream? Can we have a bigger country now? Make a centaur of North America? The closer an idea, the smoother the brain drain. Thanks, polyproposalate. Only if then when a guitar saves you will you take your head from the basket case of trickle-down kleptonomics? Remember, 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 this terror will not subside. This terror will not subside. Get it on, get it on, get it on. All right, so this next one's called Vote. It's in 6 chunks. I'll be moving around, spinning around. Hopefully I'll trip on this stuff. And then I've got 2 musical poems for you, one with this weird fucking sign over here in the garbage bag. It's gonna get a little strange. Vote for. You loiter among the sandbagging cum farmer. I saw you on a streetcar, beating your meat, scut down on morphamines, Homo sapialis. Could you imagine not being on drugs after postmodernism? What a waste of the mental illness economy. I want to buy you tampons, dude. That's my mayoral promise. Elect here. Vote against, you lip cherry superstar. I saw you volunteer to feed the unhoused, join up on memes, Lord Almighty. Could you envision not being for others after he has risen? What a conservation of uber-Christian austerity. I want to make abortion illegal, man! That's my congressional promise. Elect here. Vote for, you swimmy warm beach wave. I saw you pay for a family's fast food on party aspartame, diet do-gooder. What a junk job of a food desert parsimony. I don't want to pay for school lunches, child! That's my gubernatorial promise. Elect here. Vote against, you polluted, skewball petro hound. I saw you skip tax day on your 1069, moneyed out on fees, pocket pounder. What a confidence of the fiscal providence doctrine. I don't want a billionaire to pay taxes, man! That's my presidential promise. Elect here. Vote for? Before what for? Vote against? A gag against the back? Vote for? Like more for? Less for? Vote against? Like the grain? Vote for, you huckabuck cup of cold water. I saw you downstream, spawning a dam, flouted on electro salts water, baby. Which river bears no erosion on the captive market? What a tomb on the water branch, scrimpotomy. I want to buy you a glass bottle, thirster. That's my global national promise. Buy here. Vote against, you scaldorous apocalyptian. I saw you skyward, shitting buckskin in a cassette toilet, jag snagged on canned beans preparator. What a angular record of endurism dogma. I will vote my subconscious, bro. That's the stateship guarantee. An act there. Yes. Right there.
Now for a musical. 2 musicals.
My power went out in the middle of the night.
Alright, let's see this first.
And I'm like, one, I woke up from it. This was still stagnant. And two, I started looking at it. So I'm like, I'm not even worried about it. I'm gonna start picking it once back on. I'm just gonna be awake.
We, America.
And we, eternally young in America, we lotioned major parfums of marmalade and gunpowder, goose gander from its gongness, grab groin on this spout of reality. Mansplain strabaders hammer up, top come down. They sow sass across the day seams of we too. Report, rusty chicken meat brio, over easy. The hammer's gone coop hacker babies, earn me $1 trillion crypto dollars. Feed we, the wage people, the salary citizens, collaborative informatics on who to eat next.
And now for something horny. But rebus citation.
We live in a world of ass and blown dirt excuses. Pulling drawers out your booty, clap clapper. Twerk, temptation to work. Underdrive into thunderdrive. Moot muscle machines into industry. Electric Spanx, but that is power bounce exchange. Plump, plump, rousing. Cheek bang, cheek bang. Make butt. The bicycle of intellect. Cheek bang, let slang. Suscitate, undercarriage, blast bolts, breathe with butt. We've aid to make after boot we've tails to burn. We've letters to open, like an M's bottom. Stay good, booty. Stay good, booty. Stay good, booty. Stay. Slang is near alive.
I'm not sure how I can follow that, but I'm gonna try.
That's it? Yeah.
Hey there, I'm gonna try to read this essay for you. I might have to explain it.
Not just picturing how it was. In my head, I was like, I'm gonna say
Yeah, 2020 was a strange year, so kind of about that. It's called Poets with Guns. Ceasefire! Cows got into the trees again. I hear in my electronic earmuffs during bursts of AR-15 fire. One of the shooters from another sandpit has jogged over to warn us, and sure enough, in the hillside and back of the range, I can just make out the mottled black and white bodies of Holsteins. They mosey among the maples, rendered in a gradient of orange by the tactical sunglasses my buddy Corey lent me for the day. Apparently, the herd at LaBerge Farm in Charlotte, Vermont has been desensitized to the sound of large caliber gunnery. These cows regard the constant shattering of the sonic landscape with the same esteem that other cattle hold for 18-wheelers steaming up and down Route 7. Hard not to wonder if there's anything in this world vile enough that creatures can't get used to it. This feels like a poem beginning to write itself in my head, but there's no time for that now. Corey starts quizzing me on the 4 rules of gun safety, while the blasts what sound like small artillery echo in the hills around us. Corey's a poet too, he'd understand. But today is a radiant Monday in late July, during the final week when the freshly unemployed and the chronically unemployed have been receiving $2,400 a month from the government to spend on whatever they wish, yet cannot congregate indoors. Thus, there are pickup trucks driven by paranoid, heavily armed men of widely varying political allegiance, circling for a free range at all times. Corey and I had best look busy practicing to kill people, or a truck will pull up to complain grimly about the federal waiting list for silencers, which I'm soon to learn are actually called suppressors. Some of us are only here to adjust our rifle sights for deer season. Some of us believe that a militant communist cabal of Antifa, feminists, and Black Lives Matter are conspiring to overthrow the white man's birthright and burn down the local TJ Maxx. Some of us wish, fervently lying awake at night, sweating, that this was true. Some of us are bored, vaguely liberal hipster transplants taking up an edgy hobby. Some of us believe that Trump's presidency has emboldened a loose confederation of far-right conservatives, evangelicals, corporate interests, and crypto-Nazis to do away with America's quaint pretense of democracy. Some of us believe that the relative stasis of society, that we can twist a faucet and potable water from hundreds of miles away will gush out, for example, or that an intricate global system of tanker ships and tractor trailers will continue delivering our food, is not to be taken for granted, and is vulnerable to outbreaks of plague, to severe climate events, to warfare, nuclear or otherwise. Some of us are so unfamiliar with empathy, either giving or receiving it, that fantastical conspiracies have flooded in to take its place, and destruction of paper targets, ideas, people, has become the sole animating reason to continue living. All of us are men. I'm certain that non-male people have shot guns at LaBerge's farm, but I have not encountered them yet. This place is the Mogadishu of firing ranges, Corey tells me, crawling his van down the dirt road on the way in. The bucolic Vermont landscape we passed is suddenly littered with trash. Let's unpack that statement. I can hear someone, maybe me, murmuring, drowned out by the roar of gunfire echoing in all directions. For me, this range doesn't look much different from the sandpits in the poorer half of the state, where my father taught me how to shoot when I was a boy. The LaBerge farm, 187 acres wedged between Charlotte and Shelburne, reminds me of that grittier Rutland County I grew up in. The landscape and acropolis of rusted out holes of hay wagons and farm equipment going back to 1943. This environment gives me a pleasant shock of familiarity after driving here from Burlington along Spear Street, a manicured boulevard of McMansions and golf courses with $10 million views of Lake Champlain. And to my delight, the LaBerge firing range operates on the same ethos as a pick-your-own-corn stand. There's a donation box on your way in. Shoot your own. Not quite a chock full of nuts coffee can sitting on a picnic table, but still a far cry from professional ranges concerned with vulgar concepts like profit and liability. Rule number 2 of gun safety: never point a gun in the direction of anything you're not willing to destroy. I cock my head at Corey. The first rule says to treat every gun as if it's loaded even when you know for certain it's empty. But the primary concern of gun safety assumes humanity's inability to correctly perceive an object even as we hold it in our hands, and that the existential ramifications of choosing to hold that object are secondary feels significant to me. The sort of thing poets argue about. Normally I would love to bring this up to Corey, but I worry that if I do, we will be inviting the men around us to call us faggots, which is to say liberals, which is to say the enemy. To our right, one of the drunk middle-aged guys dressed for an extra call in the lesser Steven Seagal film holds his AR-15 up to the light and exclaims, "My Christmas present from Trump." When he lands on the word Trump, he says it extra loud for our sake, swinging the barrel ominously in our direction. "Nice," we say bobbleheadingly. He turns away, satisfied. Corey and I rack our Glocks. Finally, it dawns on me that we are all here to practice, side by side, how best to murder one another when the SHTF. Search for that term and Google will tell you when the shit hits the fan. If you are Christian, it's stuff that's hitting the fan. If you're me, they offer articles about how gray man theory will save my life on mypatriotsupply.com. For a college town of 42,000, Burlington has a thriving bohemia. When we met in 2008, Corey wore a purple wig, sequin bodysuit, and cape. He was 6'2", a former wrestler, roller skating precariously around the Burlington bar he owns. Prince's "Do You Lie" blared over the speakers. I was scribbling poems, nursing a coffee for hours, quasi-homeless in those days. Corey skated over to my table, grabbed it for balance, and offered me a gig. "You play trumpet at Bread and Puppet, right? Like circusy stuff, New Orleans-y marching band stuff, right?" "Yeah, kinda." "Want to play in a cabaret band at Bonnaroo backing the House of Yes acrobats? The Lady Circus, 6 days, food and drink covered, doesn't pay though." Some of the wig had got in his mouth and he was trying to spit it out without letting go of the table. Sure?" None of this seems real anymore. At the time, it didn't either. I assumed Corey was just another crazy person on drugs and said yes to get rid of him. I didn't even own a phone. The next day, he saw me walking down North Winooski Ave and told me about rehearsals. Apparently, my only friend in town, also quasi-homeless, another backwoods kid who gravitates to the metropolis of Burlington to seek her fortune, a clarinetist who I didn't know at the time was fucking both of us, had done me a favor and told Corey I was an amazing trumpet player. Untrue. What a blur. I miss those days of half-baked projects with zero budget, building puppets out of trash, sneaking into offices to Xerox flyers. Websites were lame. People used to get naked at parties all the time. No one had cameras in their pockets. Within a year, I started a letterpress magazine and published Corey's sonnet about the local cops harassing street musicians. The final couplet, oh liberty, what crimes are committed in your name for dimes." Most people know Corey as an eccentric arts impresario, but he's always identified as a poet, the profession he lists on his customs forms when crossing borders. My favorite Corey story is his description of hitchhiking around Ireland by holding up a slice of cardboard that said, "Ireland." Simpler times. Or were they? The cops shackled the clarinetist's legs before stuffing her in the squad car. Ah, the liberal paradise of Vermont. Somewhere, Corey must still have that wig. His bar is closed now, along with everything else. Now he tracks the price swings of 9mm ammo and convinces poets to arm themselves. I'm going to skip a little bit here for all of your sake. Biking through Burlington's South End, the former industrial zone that became an arts district, that became a yogic brewery district, I noticed the lights in my pal Yanko's sandwich shop. Though I haven't seen him in years, Yanko used to be one of the more mysterious figures in the art scene. Older than me and my poet friends by 20 years, he wore his graying hair cropped like some sort of medieval knight, made wry observations in a thick Slovakian accent, and never tired of buying his drinks. The rumors that he owned a whole barn to house his collection of outsider art not only turned out to be true, but he encouraged us to throw Dionysian readings there, even funded some of our publishing activities. I say Dionysian, but we may have just been drunk. I published Yanko in our second issue, is translation of Slovak poet Milan Rufus. Boy painting rainbow. Blind, tender as a baby bird, unintentionally daring. Like salt, I did not know its worth. Love offered pain to me. And day grew dark, its gray horses hurrying, whipped by a mad anguish. A poem folded its wings into an empty lap, sinning with a sad rhyme. And yet, from muddied streams a summer rainbow drinks. Today, peace forms in my veins. Forgive me, dear, if towards you I blasphemed before I learned to love. Like so many times before, I knock at Yanko's door, watch him grimace with annoyance at being disturbed, before grinning in recognition, already grabbing bottles and fishing for keys. My, little baby bird comes home again, he says. Long story, I say. The shop looks good. Glad to see you're still open. Strange days, right? Come on, you don't need that fucking thing in here. Oh, word. Or I guess if we kind of say it like a few, he clucks his tongue. Ah, so you're a true believer then. Okay. I mean, hard to know what to think these days. Better safe than sorry, I guess. Yanko pours out some tangy beer for us. He looks ready to talk. Aren't we all? Tell me your real heart then. You don't think a little flu can shut down the world. Or do you? A lot of people are dying. Bah, saying who? He stands up, makes bunny ears. I start drinking fast. Let me guess, the scientists. Huh. True, but scientists they're scientists, right? Baby bird. They say what they want them to say. They? Oh, I'm no fan of the government. It's okay, you can say it. We're friends here. Don't worry. Say what? The truth. What else? It's them doing all this. The Jews. Sure. I tried. You might admire how hard I tried. At first, I considered it my duty to try. And for a moment, I even wondered if I might have some crucial role to play in a whole sequence of events as yet unforeseen, pulling my old friend back from the brink before it's too late, as if I were an emissary from his former life sent bicycling past his lit window. But that's as grandiose as it is naive. Yanko was gone. Gone in the way zombies are gone. Gone in the way zombies are gone. Turned in the way vampires are turned. Who knows what specific accretion or inheritance of fears, insecurities, and resentments and pain Yanko carried around, but none of that matters now. One night, he started watching whatever YouTube's algorithm showed him. And by dawn, everything had become very simple. The implications of how fast and how easily this took place frighten me most of all. I've seen it happen before, but poetry isn't an inoculation, no matter how much I want it to be. I guess I'll stop there. Thanks so much.
The first one is from my book, A Bastard. Did I tell you that my daddy just started a war on sugar? Wanted me to comb through each cabinet and trash all granulated specs. While you're at it, he said, Throw out that white bread too. These things are killing us. But I contemplated a different death. The one that I'd meet if my mama could refine the sugar cubes for her coffee or the bunny bread for her turkey sandwiches. Keep on listening to your dad, she clucked, and I'll dig you a faster grave. Sorry, I should be more organized, right?
No.
Thank you. I like you. Okay, this one is called My Dad Doesn't Know How to Fight the Wasp in the Mailbox. So I give him some advice. Like the kitchen oracle I am, I Google how to chase wasps from the mailbox. And Google suggests dryer sheets or building a fake nest to confuse them. Also a portion of essential oils to spray. Clove, geranium, lemongrass, and rosemary. My dad says every week I chase them away, but they still come back. I nod and I scold. Don't you know we're in a housing crisis? Good real estate is hard to come by. I don't know, he says. I'm just starting to take this whole thing personally. I say, Dad, last week I got drunk at our bar, and they were playing this footage of a frog protecting its nest of tadpoles on a leaf in the rainforest. The wasp kept trying to steal the eggs, and the frog kept kicking and kicking the wasp away with its long, sticky lime legs. And then the wasp got pissed and ran away to get its friends. My dad gives me a blank stare. I say all this to say, 1, wasps are the assholes of the animal world, so don't take it personally. 2, somewhere out there, there is a frog on a leaf in the middle of the rainforest who feels exactly the same way you do. So don't feel alone. Does that make you feel better? I think so. Good. This poem is called When I Visit My Father in the Hospital. We talk about everything except what brought him there. I ask him, how are you? Not for the real answer, but instead to obey some cosmic formality that I do not understand. I don't want to hear the truth, just as much as he refuses to speak it. So I tell him about the dog I'm house sitting right off of St. Bernard. All the machines he's hooked up to keep beeping so loudly, I can't even hear myself think. I say, his name is Goji. Yesterday he pulled me down in the grass, chasing ducks down by the bayou. I tell him about the 2 cats, the turtle, and the snail that hasn't moved for days in its terrarium. It just sticks to the same wall. I say, I don't know what it's waiting for. The nurse comes in to remove the empty hospital plates. She adjusts his bed. It's time to turn you over, she says. That's why this machine is beeping. My mother smiles and tells us about a Chase commercial she saw. A dog whose owner thought he wanted a ball when all he actually wanted was a stick. Finally, it is my dad's turn to speak. Slow, he asks me if my boyfriend plays the guitar. He begins to tell me about a funeral he attended for one of his friends just the weekend before he was admitted to the hospital. The guitarist played a solo, he said, smiling. It was Amazing Grace. With a light in his eyes, he said, it was so moving. I wondered how someone could make you feel so deeply without even saying one single word. He said, I decided then I'm gonna learn how to play the guitar too. He adjusted the blankets on his hospital bed. When I get out of here, I'll have my first lessons. Writing a lot of poems about my job, like this one is called The Remote Year, a gentrified duplex after Jericho Brown. I begin the new job remotely, hoping to grow there. I train on the new job remotely. Boss says, you're getting nowhere. My managers discuss me remotely. Over Teams, they say, Skye is the worst, I swear. I suffer in the attic remotely. COVID WebMD tells me how much time I will need to sweat there. I don't need sweat to be hot. I don't need to be hot to be mad. I sit at my computer remotely, hoping the emails eventually stop somewhere. I reconcile with my ex remotely. He asks me, what's keeping you occupied up there? My best friend consoles me remotely. Skye, you can't quit. It'll get better, I swear. My mama prays, always remotely, says, Skye, I can't wait till you get the hell up out of there. I soak in my fancy new bathtub remotely. God damn it. I run out of air. At work, I dodge the ghosts of MLK Jr. and Elvis remotely. Though my boss ignores my emails, he still yells, Skye, why wasn't I made aware? HR says, if I leave, I get no severance. Damn, I tell my therapist, ain't that a bear? I finally close the computer remotely, hoping the good hell ends there. This poem is called On the Day of My Resignation. On the day of my resignation, I am unaware that it will be the day of my resignation until my boss informs me so. He asks if I will move to California for work in 2 weeks. I say, with the way you act, oh hell no. I meet Richard for coffee. I speak to a pig behind a fence. I speak to HR. I answer emails. I walk somebody else's dog. I order a pizza. I drink all the wine. I call my boyfriend to tell him, but I still can't cry. I run through the rain and get to G's Pizza at 8:30 p.m. Across the street, I see a white girl wandering around a cemetery trying to be cool. I think, why search for the dead in the dark when you can just find them scrolling down your newsfeed? My phone buzzes. With a work email, I realize emails are just less interesting headstones. All names, no faces. The dead as white and populous as my inbox. I can't keep track of them all. Thank you. This poem is called A Coworker Asked Me How I Feel the Day After My Resignation. You know that scene in Batman, the one with Michelle Pfeiffer, when her boss knocks her ass out of that skyscraper window because she knows too much, and the cats, bless them, bring her back to life. And the next day, she comes back to work with frizzy hair, very pissed and very off, like total Pet Cemetery vibes. And the boss is surprised she survived the fall, and she is surprised she survived the fall. And Michael Keaton thinks it's all very hot and strange, but he doesn't know what the hell is going on. Yeah, well, I feel nothing like that. That's good to know. Thanks for asking. I have 2 more poems for you. If I could find them in my massive pile of things. This poem is called When the Half-Black Man I'm in Bed With Calls My Hair Nappy. I can hear it so clear again. The sizzle of my hair straightens sharp to blade. And that chemical smell, relaxer, white and deadly, stirred thick in a plastic cup. My nose burns before it is even applied to my roots. The stylist adjusts her plastic gloves to protect her hands from what she's about to smear across my scalp. She sighs, parting my budding curls into quadrants. Resigned, she whispers into my ear as though this is something to be hidden. Your hair is so thick. And then all I remember is the waiting, and all I feel is the burn. I see it all in that second he turns his light-skinned body away from me in bed, laughing, he says, "You and this nappy hair. Hope I don't wake up with any of your little curls in my mouth." His thick cruelty, cold as butter, and intimate violence brings me back down south to the hot comb in my mother's hands, the tub of Blue Magic hair grease on the bathroom counter, always empty, to the Saturdays wasted in salons, or the chemical burns, each a pulsing scab, round and hard as blood-fed ticks dotted across my scalp, hidden beneath glossy, straightened hair. I open my mouth to speak and want to say to him, "Tell me again how much your white mother loves you." But instead I say, "My curls are beautiful. I love my hair. So quiet that I can't even convince myself of it. But he's already fast asleep." This is my last poem. It's called "I Have Only Been Back in New Orleans for 2 weeks." I have only been back in New Orleans for 2 weeks when I learned about the 3 children that fell into the river and drowned trying to save each other. When they found the girl in slaughter, rotting in 12 years of her own filth, under the watchful eyes of her parents. When 6 people were shot at a bar on Magazine Street. When 3 children dragged a woman to death in Mid-City. When the DA decided to try those 3 children as adults. When I sat in City Park having crawfish and strawberry mead, and my best friend asked me why I took him back, but not if I was happy now. When my mama told me the last thing my father said before he left was, "I'll see you in court." But he didn't take the dog and just came home a few hours later. When my little brother called from LA needing more money. When my older brother called from the East needing more money. When I kept putting quitting a job I hated. When he texted me from New York saying he needed me. When the mayor sent out her condolences. When she did it again the next day and the next. When I told my mama they needed to put the parents of the rotting girl under the jail. But they didn't even arrest them until almost 4 months later. When one of the bodies of the drowned children washed up on the Mississippi Riverbank. When a 3-year-old got shot on Bernardi. When the mayor offered more thoughts and prayers. When my best friend asked me over cocktails at the Hotel St. Vincent, Skye, why won't you just come home? And I asked myself, Skye, why don't you just come home? I hear myself telling her I never left. And now I don't know who to believe. Thank you.
How's it going?
How about that heat?
It's wet.
I'm Mike 9. This is Aaron Hill. This is Benny. Quintron has COVID. So, Benny stepped in to
Called in a ringer.
called in a ringer. Just to make some noise, so we're gonna do something. I don't know what. neoconservative African slaves, gamblers and religious zealots. One big happy family with a passion for bloodshed, where disposal of the body is 9/10 of the law. Sober sobriety is the satisfying fact, and that there's proof in pictures and camera memories of photographic evidence of dead-end streets. Time has come today. Shredded time, melted time, abstract time, time scraped off your shoe, time beaten into a pulp on Decatur Street, time fouled up, time forced down, a time to laugh, a time to howl, time out, time stoned to death, dead time, flat time, time creeping on, time without a care, time in a red dress, time washed down the sink, time not to think, time down the throat, time sweating at the bar, scarred time, time afraid of the stairs, time after time, frazzled time, drunken time, misery time, vicious time, time to get back, time to get lost, time after time after. Screwdriver into the ignition after busting the car window with a pillow and a hammer. She hops into the passenger side wheel and touches the yellow wire to the red wire. The solution to the General Motors puzzle. The engine jumps and sparks to life, spewing smoke from the tailpipe and radial belted treads. In the back seat, the scarecrow, nursing a hangover and smoking a cool filter king. Checks his weapon, clicks the safety on, and unloads empty cartridges from the chamber. Shell casings fall into his stuffing. Then crouching low in the naugahyde swivel seats, he positions the 12 gauge on the lip of the side door, opening up in a blaze of torrential bullet rain. The wizard is once again a victim of sniper fire. Ballerina princess. I see her every other day on platforms and heels. The grimmest girl on the face of the earth. You would think her ship sailed without her, and her mascara too. Spray painted toenails, crumbling and chipped, and her heart wrung like a sponge. world, beyond the railways, but one who's never left town for too long. A new strawberry field. Let me take you down where I'm going, to strawberry fields, where nothing is real but the medication, and you can hang yourself with your own rope, something to get hung about, and you can dig yourself a 6-foot ditch. You made your burial plot. Now lie in it. Living is easy with eyes closed. This is called Someone Else Did. I wanted to set them on fire anyway, on those pale mornings, gleaming in through cracked and shattered frames. I wanted to set them on fire. In through green, rain-soaked, rusted, tattered drapes. I wanted to set them on fire, but I didn't. Warped through bends and creases, twisting the hated looks even more, and more, and more. Where fists have punched, steel reflection of what I came to be. This is different pain, newer. The Munro refuses to let me in, as phantoms fill the dents and give my appearance a full-blown misery haze. Lamentations of the final hours. Briar vines hugging wrought iron fences. Skeletons of oak wood and elm sway silver and blue. The garden covered by mulched leaves and bathed in October sundown. Perfume of an imperfect past bears down on the senses, but not at least a glimpse of what could have been. Neither passers-by or the neighbors know that oblivion is total and the obliteration is final. Doping agent, a metallic corrosive element similar to arsenic. Old lace, on the other hand, is something up there in the attic, frail and previously worn at birthday parties, crumbling like being soaked in bleach, then hung in the sun to dry rot. Ultimately debilitated and chewed by gypsy moths. Watered down with self-doubt, the mind stays alert with migraines, pounding, pound to pound, in the skull cavity, and unwittingly seizing up, paving the way for Eskimos, fighting with sticks, to break into show business, tackle the man with the backboard Pull the plug, and I'll pull the rug out from under all of us. Barbaric warmonger with white umbrella. Then the chorus of starving orphans disapprove. Down the hill we roll. His dexterity runs out. The man in the bag is your missing voice. Pin down the white light. Say the wrong thing. Then crawl into the television. Burn that starlight like a nameless, anonymous Joe. On a sweat-muddled Saturday, stressing all matter-of-facts compelling, wielding a scepter of broken beer bottle neck, harming one arm after another, wrapped in a matrix of wire and tubes. The price I paid was well on its way to becoming a class shit act, a burden about worrying aloud, mocking my place on earth, an accessory to gratitude. Antenna swirling back and forth in cohorts of marching grubworms, earn the opposite of a good credit through the power of analysis, leaking out from plaster tiles. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael Pelch. Thank you very, very much. Thank you all for coming. It was fun. Thank you. How about that?